HarlequinAudio is proud to bring you The Emperor's Arrow by Lauren D.M. Smith, performed by Felicity Munroe. Chapter 1. The Palace. Evony stopped across the road from her destination, tilting her head back to get a better look at it. With its high, sun-bleached limestone walls standing out palely against the harsh blue of the sky, and a wide, barred gate bracketed by columns, the entrance to the imperial palace was an awe-inspiring sight. Evony's gaze roved past the light stone structures and hints of greenery that could be seen through the iron bars. Her eyes focused on the closed gate and the uniformed guards in front of it. That, paired with walls nearly an actus high and made of heavy stone, had her nodding. She was glad that at least the mainlanders seemed to have some sense of proper defense. She sighed and hiked her pack higher on her back, grimacing slightly as her thin wool cloak twisted underneath it. Not that she really needed it, with the sun beating down as it was. Quite a difference from the thick forests of her home. She inhaled, and her nose was again assaulted by the mixed scents of refuse, hot earth, animals, and too many people. Evony hadn't been in the city more than a few auras, and she already hated it. Still, there was no helping it. Keeping a wary eye on the horses, carts, and chariots that always seemed to come out of nowhere, Evony made her way across the street. Not for the first time, she cursed her luck. Finally, she'd won an archery competition against her sisters, but instead of a proper prize, she'd been sent here. Under normal circumstances, she might have considered it exciting. But not when she was being sent as a potential bride. Evony glowered. Not that anyone could see her face under the cloak's brown hood. Her sisters had nearly hurt themselves with laughter when they found out what her prize was. Then they'd had to go and tell her all the horror stories they'd heard about the beast-like emperor. He was power-mad and land-hungry, which is why he'd conquered the whole continent, starting when he'd only been on the throne for a year. That he was an old man with a penchant for young girls. How he beheaded everyone who displeased him. At least Obelia hadn't been completely heartless, and had told her to stab the emperor if he tried to dishonor her. It had only been 3 years since Emperor Galen had finished his war on the world, having conquered and absorbed every country on the continent, so there wasn't anywhere that didn't bow to him as their supreme ruler. Evony wondered what kind of man this emperor was to have done such a thing. Even more, she wanted to know why he'd decided now of all times to choose a bride, and why he'd had every noble family, even those who barely qualified like the Aurelines, send one of their daughters to him as a candidate. Evony sincerely hoped she was sent home quickly, even as she wondered how the emperor was going to be making his decision. She shook herself free from the distracting thoughts as she came to a stop in front of the gate. Both guards, who had to be hot in their black tunics, iron chest plates, and helmets, had their attention on her, one readjusting his grip on his pike, the other with his hand hovering near his sword. They were alert. She had to give them that. Evony was still pretty certain she could have taken care of both of them before they could yell the alarm, but she wasn't about to test that theory. "I'm Evony of Clan Aureline," she said, dropping her hood so they could see her face. "I've been sent to see the Emperor."
"Aureline?"
said the man, holding his pike white-knuckled.
"Where's that?"
"Doesn't matter. The Emperor doesn't see just anyone." His grizzled partner pulled his sword a digit out of its sheath.
"Move along."
Evony resisted the urge to challenge the man for his tone. She was tired, hot, and farther from home than she'd ever been in her life. And, as she realized, she'd forgotten to give them her title. "I'm Princeps Evony of Aureline. I'm from Silvinsula. I was summoned by the Emperor, so I would very much appreciate it if you let me in."
You expect me to believe you're one of those crazed warrior women?"
The older one had a smirk playing across his lips.
"Try selling that story somewhere else, unless you're trying to sell something more."
A muscle jumped in her cheek as she clenched her teeth.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?